Hello. Live from the Crazy Cap Studios, this is Fairy Fountain News. I am your host Jaden, aka Slime Boss. Tonight's top stories: Nintendo Direct this week? Question mark. And it's a little bit of a slow week, so that's pretty much all the major news we have. But before we get into that, let's thank today's sponsors. Of course, Dubby. We've been affiliated for quite some time now. They're great. It's a jitterless energy drink alternative for gamers, and you can use our code CrazyCap. They're still pushing their brand new Palm Blom flavor. I just ordered mine, and I'll let you know when I receive it, and I'll be able to show it on the show. Because I recently run out of my dub sauce. So once that arrives in the mail, I will be showing it for you guys on camera, but they're still pushing that flavor, so I highly recommend that you grab it. You can use the link in the description below or use code CrazyCap for 10% off your order. You'll be helping supporting us and the channel so we can grow our series like this. Next up is usually I would shout out last week's episode, but we didn't have an episode. We'll be having an episode in just a few weeks here. So obviously I'm going to take this time to shout out our Discord server. That is the Crazy Cap official Discord server. You can join it by clicking the link tree in the description below. It is one of the options on there. You can join in on the conversation, maybe even become a guest on the show, either this show or the podcast, and even leave comments of the day so that I can have something to talk about at the end of the episode. And of course, this episode and every episode is brought to you by you. With your help and your support, by giving a like, commenting what you guys want to see in the next episode, subscribing, hitting that notification bell, and joining our Patreon at even just the $1 tier. You'll be getting exclusive content over there, and anything that you do absolutely helps support us, and we thank you for everything that you guys do to help support us and the channel. Every single day we grow a little bit bigger, so thank you guys so much for all your support. Anyways, as a little bit of a recap for last week, obviously it was a big episode because I had missed a few weeks, but the main takeaways is that Nintendo Switch 2 has officially been announced to be backwards compatible, and that's huge because now the Switch 2 already has a great lineup and hasn't even been revealed yet. And that's the biggest worry that I had, because it's like, I could care less if they went backward steps and they had another Wii U situation. As long as the Switch 2 was backwards compatible, it's already an okay console to start, okay? Because we already have that huge lineup of games to begin with, it's going to be a great time. And of course, Mario & Luigi Brothership also launched last week. Unfortunately, I won't be able to get around to making a review at this time because I want to get a little bit farther in the game myself before I make a review. So please be patient, and I really appreciate your patience. I'm going to be making a review, I promise. This game means a lot to me, so it's something that we need to cover. All right, well, let's get into this week's releases. Dragon Quest HD 2D Remake has finally launched, and it looks great. I don't know anything much about Dragon Quest series, but I'm excited for it. I do want to check it out at some point. I think I'm just going to wait until the 1 through 3 collection HD 2D comes out, because they are still working on 1 and 2. I just don't know if they're going to be releasing them together or like what they're going to be doing with that. So I will just wait until all 3 games come out for me to check it out. Again, I have way too many games on my backlog right now, so I think this one can wait a little bit. And next up is Lego Horizon. I'm definitely interested in this one. Again, I might hold off just a little bit before I check it out, because I do want to still try out the original Horizon game. We have Horizon HD or Horizon Remastered, and then I already own Horizon 2 because it came with my console. So I will be checking out the series before I check out Lego Horizon. So it'll be pretty exciting. So far, it seems like it's pretty good, but it's just kind of a goofy game. I don't know if it was really needed, but I mean, cool nonetheless. Like, you know, nothing stopping them from making wacky games in 2024. Not everything needs to be serious 4K AAA. Again, people seem to have this like idea of what a AAA game is, and it has to have like super high production value or whatever. A AAA game simply means that it was made by one of the major studios. That's all it means. So it doesn't mean if Nintendo made Mario & Luigi or Breath of the Wild. They're all AAA, whether you like it or not. And so there's this moniker of what a AAA game is, and they just made it up in their heads. And so, again, nothing needs to be this AAA status is what I mean. But anyway, let's get into this week's news. Not a whole lot to cover this week. A little bit of a slow week, but we did have a Nintendo Direct. We had a Nintendo World, or Super Nintendo World Direct, and Miyamoto came back and he was showing us the expansion, the Donkey Kong Country expansion. So what's cool about this is that not only are they announcing a new expansion to the park, but this is the first time that they are officially unveiling in a video format the Orlando Super Nintendo World. And so obviously Japan came first, then LA, and now Orlando is going to be released when it opens up. It's going to have both Mario and Donkey Kong Land from the get-go, so you're going to be able to check that out. In there they have like they pretty much have a whole nother park in Orlando, so that's why it took so long for this to finally come out. But it's going to be opening up next year. Really excited about it. Hopefully I'll be able to go, probably not next year, but at some point I would love to go and check out that again. Of course, I would love to go back to Super Nintendo World. I kind of sort of want to go to the Japan one a little bit, I mean, obviously I would want to go to Orlando too, but I've never been to Japan. As one of my main goals to go to Japan, and being able to go there, maybe even visit the Nintendo Museum, and also going there will also net a different experience as well, because the Nintendo World in Japan actually has 2 rides, I think, or just a different ride than LA has. So it would be cool to experience that, because it's basically a different version of Super Mario World theme park. So it would be cool to check that out, because there's like, at that point it's just like, well, you're just going to be visiting Donkey Kong Land and nothing else. So I'd like to have at least a little bit of a new experience alongside the Donkey Kong, but beggars can't be choosers. If, money allows, then I'll go to Japan. If money doesn't allow, then I'll go back to LA. It's pretty simple as that. But yeah, I'm definitely going to want to do it, and we'll of course have a podcast episode and a vlog about it. Of course, that's par for the course with these things. Next up is a little bit of a sad note. So Nintendo has been very well. I mean, it's typical for Nintendo, but like, it just seems like it is back to back. It is so weird right now, because. And it's not just like the things that they're doing behind the scenes, like suing people and things like this. It's everything just seems so weird right now. They announced 6 months ago the Switch 2 exists, and it was going to be announced at some point in the next fiscal year. And yet we're here in November. We still don't know nothing other than it's backwards compatible, and maybe the NSO game trial thing that they did, maybe that's related to the Switch 2, but nothing else. And then they want to announce Xenoblade Chronicles X. We still have 3 other games that are still coming to the Switch, 2 of which we don't have a release date for, being Prime and Pokemon. A lot of people don't even know that there's a Pokemon game already out. There's like, oh yeah, they're obviously gonna have a Pokemon game, and it's like, we already do, we just don't know when it's coming. And it's just this weird time right now. But to be fair, we had an even weirder time in 2016. So I think we're eating good. It's just a little weird. And then just back to back with these suings that Nintendo's doing, and it's Citra. I don't remember what the Citra, and then their parent company, which I don't remember what it was. Ryujinx, Pal World. And now some random Joe Schmo streamer, because he was mad about them suing people. They're literally just suing him because he was talking shit. Like, I'm not even unfiltered, uncensored here. He was literally just talking shit, and they sued him. Like, again, I'm not gonna go like super in depth like he did, because I'm not gonna get my ass sued. But it's mind-boggling to me just what they're doing right now, because again, it seems to be a trend with these things where like they do something and it results in something that they're doing. And back in the day when they used to strike down Pokemon stuff like a lot more than they do now, there was always a Pokemon game around the corner, and they usually did that because they didn't want to confuse marketing. And as a new game, i.e. like Sun and Moon was coming out and they're being advertised, Pokemon Prism was blowing up at the same time. And so they're like, wait, we don't want like confusion here. And so it makes sense from a legal and business standpoint. It's unfair, but it makes sense. What doesn't make sense is that, again, almost a year and a half or so on of Palworld being released, they want to sue Palworld all of a sudden. And then now all of these emulators back to back. And then people are obviously like reading into the weeds a little bit, saying, oh, the Nintendo Museum has emulation. Like, of course it does. The Switch has emulation. Like, all of NSO is emulation. All virtual consoles emulates. Like, unless you're playing on the original hardware, it's emulation, no matter what. Unless they natively ported it to that console, 9 times out of 10, it's emulation. And so, what their ideology is that it's not. I mean, pirating is illegal. Like, period, point blank, pirating is illegal, right? But emulating it is not, and they want to say that emulation is illegal, and perfectly fine. I mean, they're allowed to say that because they're going through the Japanese courts, and the Japanese laws work a lot differently. These are, I assume, an American or Western people that are making these emulators, and they're going after them. So there's a little bit of again, it's their property, so they can do whatever they want. It's just kind of a sad situation, unfortunately. But again, it begs the question, what does this mean? Why are they doing this? And this kind of leads into the next bit of news, which is Nintendo owns Ryujinx now. They didn't just sue it, cease and desist, blah, blah, blah. They own it now. They have private control over this. I assume it's like a team of like 1 to 5 people. I don't even know. And now they have ownership over this Switch emulator which is weird because they probably could have made it on their own, but that's besides the point. But they own it now. And so that begs the question, are they suing all these people because they have a plan in mind? With Palworld, they're suing it because of certain gameplay mechanics that are similar to Legends Arceus. Legends EA is coming out. So that probably has a lot to do with it. A lot of the things that we're probably going to be doing in Legends EA are going to be very indicative of Palworld, more than likely is what I'm going to assume. Now that Nintendo owns Switch emulators, what does that mean for the future? Does that mean that Switch 3, it won't be backwards compatible, but they're going to want to emulate Switch 1 games? I mean, obviously, again, this could be me reading way too far into it, just like people reading too far into the Nintendo Museum having emulators, but it has to mean something, right? Something official is going to be coming in the wake. Again, perfect example of this. They took down Giva Sunner and a bunch of other, like Brawl, and a bunch of other people that were releasing Nintendo OSTs. Boom. A little too late at this point, because that happened years ago, but now we have the Nintendo Music app. So usually this means something, and so again, I might be reading too far into it, but it might be the case that something's going to be happening with this. Speaking of Nintendo Music, though, there's a couple of things that I wanted to cover regarding it, because day 2 of it releasing, we had Mario Wonder music added to it. 1 week later, they have Donkey Kong Country 2 music added, and then 2 weeks later, as of a few days ago, they added the Wii Sports soundtrack. So very clearly, they know what we want. Again, it's kind of crazy that, the launch lineup, again, it is crazy. Again, we talked about it last week, but the random things that were included in this, the Wii menu sounds like, okay, where's Wii U? I assume they'll eventually add Wii U and GameCube and N64 menu music, but they clearly know. They clearly know that a lot of people were listening to the Wii Sports or the Wii menu music soundtracks on these OST YouTubers, right? But then they also added the Japanese Famicom sound font for Metroid. Like, that's a deep cut. And obviously, like, we're missing pretty big gaps like Pokemon and stuff. Scarlet and Violet has good music, and obviously it's the most recent entries, but there's a lot more standout tracks in the older ones, but safe to assume that they're coming eventually. But you never know with these things because they're not even on NSO yet, so maybe eventually. I'm still praying that they come at one of these. Well, it is Pokemon's anniversary again coming up, and I'm not talking. I think it's I'm gonna let me get. Hold on. Okay, my bad. I misremembered. It's the 29th anniversary. We're probably going to be ramping up for 30th anniversary coming soon, but now that we know that NSO is pretty much going to be going into the Switch 2, it's got to happen at some point. So anyway, point being that they know what they want, and again, this leads back to my previous point, them suing other music YouTubers and stuff. It clearly led down to this path where we have an official Nintendo Music app where they want us listening to their music. So again, as sad as it is, it's usually followed up by something that they're doing officially. So again, like I said, I might be reading too much into it, but yeah. Anyways, last bit of news here is that the GTA. Oh, I completely brushed over like the initial. Hold on, let me go back for a second. They sued a streamer. Why the hell did they sue a streamer? I have no idea. I think I talked about it a little bit, but I just want to make sure, like, that is so weird from Nintendo, and I really hope they don't sue me for just saying that, but it is just so weird. And like, again, a lot of the things that they're doing, it sucks, but it makes sense. Like emulators, Power World, not as much, but ROM hacks, and like they're just protecting their IP, right? But just some random streamer that was talking shit about the bad business they were doing. It's like, that's I mean, maybe they're suing them for defamation, but like that seems out of character for Nintendo. I don't think they really do that. But anyways, weird bit of news here. The GTA trilogy just released a patch after years, or 2 years. I don't remember when it came out, but sure. The game looks 10 times better than it did initially. So good for them. It's just like, why now? No idea. But yeah. This has been a very, very weird news week again. Let me reiterate. Thank you guys so much for all your support. Please, 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 please leave comments down below of topics that you guys want me to cover in next week's episode. Shout out Dubby, use our code CrazyCap for 10% off your order. Link in the description below. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on Blue Sky, follow us on Instagram, Threads, all those things. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for the support. I promise I'm working on new background details and things like that. We're gonna have a really professional looking video here coming soon in the future, and yeah, I hope you're really excited for all the assets that me and a familiar face are building. So thank you for your patience on that, and of course we will see you guys next week. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I have been your host, Jaden, aka Slime Boss. This has been Fairy Fountain News, live from the Crazy Cap Studios. Have a good night.